What would you do if you knew anything was possible for you? My name is Holly Moore and I started an events company 10 years ago from scratch at my dining room table. Join me over the next few weeks and hopefully at the end of it you will see why anything truly is possible for you. This episode of the Anything is Possible podcast was recorded at Destino Ibiza this summer. When Anya and Sandy of Barry's Bootcamp agreed to be part of the podcast, we decided to fly out to Ibiza to their pop-up Barry's Bootcamp and film the podcast there. We hope you enjoy. So, welcome to another episode of Anything is Possible. And today's episode really is a vision of dreams can come true. I'm going to interview today, I would say, one of my favourite brands in the world. And even if you're not into fitness, I really encourage you to listen to this episode because I think you're going to learn about culture, business and scale. So who am I sat with? I am sat in Ibiza with a glass of Kylie Minogue Rosé with Anya and Sandy from Barry's Bootcamp. And if you know me, you know that I am seriously obsessed with this brand. Now, before we begin, I think we need to position for any Barry's virgins out there. Sandy, for anyone that's never done a Barry's class, never heard of a Barry's class, can you describe it in its simplest form?
Ooh, how do I describe? Okay, in its most simple form, Barry's is a boutique studio, and there's a lot more to it. But essentially, it's a rectangular room with red lights. Down one wall is a line of treadmills. And down the other side of the room is benches for weights. And you do a class half treadmill running and half weights. Red lights, the instructor's on a microphone. It's like a nightclub with a workout thrown in.
And it's the best workout in the world.
It's the best workout in the world. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So that's what Barry's is. So let's start in the very beginning. So Barry's is global now, but it started its roots in America. So Anya, can you kind of tell us, so pre-UK, can you describe how Barry's was set up, what it was before it came to the UK?
So Barry's has had a massive evolution over time. So the original Barry's was in this tiny little studio in West Hollywood. And it was founded by a lady called Rachel Montford and Barry. There is a real life Barry, who Barry used to, wait, there's a plane. We're in Ibiza, guys. There's lots of planes. But Barry had his own little fitness thing going on in WeHo, and Rachel was one of his clients. And she turned up one morning and the doors had been locked and it had gone bust. And all his loyal followers were absolutely heartbroken, devastated. And Rachel kind of rallied the troops and decided to help Barry open his own thing, which became Barry's Bootcamp. And in those days, it was literally the most basic thing. I think they did an open locker bid where you literally see inside a locker and bid on whatever's in there. You get like a few seconds to see inside it. And they bid on like benches and some really old treadmills and ended up, that's how kind of Barry's was born. And it basically was running, lifting with Barry, who is the biggest entertainer on the planet, some great tunes and a really loyal community of people. In those days, it really was, there was no shakes, there was no showers, there was no frills. It was just this incredible workout. And it really evolved from then. So when I started as a client, it was just basically a studio.
And when was that? So you were in America?
I was acting in America. So it was quite a long time ago, probably, God, honestly, I can't even track back, but I don't know, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Longer? More?
Yeah.
Definitely more than that because we started 10 years ago.
Okay, so longer than that.
But Barry's has been around since 98.
Yeah.
To put perspective on the Barry's thing.
Yeah.
And, like if you rewind 24 years, like the idea that nowadays everyone's boutique fitness is the thing. This Barry came up with this 24 years ago. And he's an absolute pioneer.
Okay, so you went to a class in LA. And at that point, so for those of you that don't know, the CEO of Barry's is Joey Gonzalez. He started off going to a class, didn't he? And then he became CEO.
Well, I think that's kind of how most people have fallen into Barry.
Yeah.
So the beauty of the whole kind of culture of it is that most people who have moved Barry's forward have been clients or people that have been loyal followers.
Yeah.
So Joey was a client. Joey was my first instructor. So I remember it was butt and legs day, and I was like terrified because all I'd heard was Kardashian stories. My roommate was a desker, so she dragged me along.
Really?
And it's that typical Barry's moment where you think you're really quite fit, and then you're very humbled within minutes of the class. But I came out and I'd fallen completely in love with the whole thing. I was like, this is amazing. So I guess a little bit like Joey. And then in those days, I think still to this day, they really choose people who love the brand as much as they do.
Yeah.
It's got a real family feeling. So, we've met the guys who are taking Barry's to Madrid. And I feel like everyone's got a very common kind of sensibility about them. They've got the same drive. They all love it so much. It's not just money that's flowing into a company. It's a real passion for the brand.
Yeah.
I think instructors too, like some of our top talent has come from our desk. So our front desk team.
Yeah.
People who have like worked for us in the brand somehow and get this like immersion, is that a word?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a word. Yeah. Immersion into, again, the culture and what it is, and just love it. And then can just do classes. And then when they transition into becoming a instructor and go through Anya's instructor training process, they come out and they just know it. They live and breathe it already. And I think, I always think that the top talent in the company has come through the...
Yeah.
But me too. Anya obviously introduced Barry's to my brother James.
Yeah. So Anya's married to your brother.
Anya's married.
Just to give context. Yeah.
It's all a bit confusing.
Yeah.
We all work. Family. I mean, as a fam, it's very confusing because Erica's dark-haired and has got tan skin. We're all a bit confusing because Sandy's married to Erica. She does our marketing. I'm married to James, and everyone gets utterly confused as to who does what. But
So you were doing you were going to the classes, and you were living in LA. Were you living in LA at that point?
I was here, and then here being London, not
Ibiza.
And then James came back telling me about Barry, so I heard about it, and then must have been a couple of years. I just kind of had the retail and like t-shirts and stuff. I was like, what's this thing, Barry's? And then maybe seen in like an Entourage or something, like you can know about it.
Just to put it into context though, so because obviously I was in LA having these long distance calls and talking about this workout I was doing.
Because you were getting like obsessed with it because it was so great.
I was like, I'm going to Barry's again today, and I can't walk because of Barry's. And 2 weeks later, I'm in Barry's. And Jane's like, oh, what's this thing? I was like, you're going to come to Barry's next time you come to LA. And I think he just assumed it was going to. I think in those days classes really were just for women. So a lot of women were going past in the UK, not in America.
Of course,
so in his head, he was like, is this just women that go to this class? I was like, no, everyone goes to this class.
Yeah.
And I guess because, more for him, but he thought because I was doing it, in those days I wasn't, before I started Barry's, I wasn't a particularly great runner.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to find it easy. And of course, that was not the case at all. So he came to Barry's, ran next to me for a start, was like shocked how much fitter I'd got.
Yeah.
And then obviously had instructors pushing him to his max.
Yeah.
And was like, this thing's amazing. And
yeah.
So he came back,
spoke
to you guys, and then everything else is all a bit of
it's a blur, isn't it?
Lucky fate that.
Well, tell us what happened. So, what were you? So you were at this point you were modelling and acting and singing.
No, not singing anymore. I've done lots of different jobs. No. The singing had been very much parked. The acting was my dream. So I'd been in LA on and off for a long time.
Yeah.
Chasing a dream of being an actor, and then Barry's had come about as a result of that. I was doing that when I could afford it. To be honest. So James came out and he was coming and going. I was trying to convince him to come and be in LA with me.
Yeah.
He was currently a tennis coach, so I was trying to connect him with all these people to play tennis. I was at the front desk, and Rachel, who was the CEO, sorry, not the CEO, the co-founder of Barry's, was at the front desk. And I was like, oh my God, this is my opportunity.
It's like meeting a hero, isn't it? Like, oh, I've heard about that.
I mean, it was more my opportunity to get someone who James could teach tennis to.
Oh, right.
I was like, Rachel,
I
don't know, are you into tennis? My boyfriend's here and he's looking for some clients, like maybe you or your husband. And she was like, oh yeah, I love tennis. And started talking about tennis. And then I was like, actually, it was a really off the chart, like a moment in time where I just thought, right, I've got nothing to lose. Yeah. So I just said, well, actually, I know that he's really interested in potentially opening Barry's. We're massive, massive fans. I've done this for this many years, blah, blah. I just saw her eyes maybe light up because of my passion. I don't know, but she was like, wow, you love Barry's. You're from London. You seem like you're exactly the kind of people that I would want to move us forward. Anyway, we swapped numbers. She said she was going to get in touch, and then for the next month and a half, nothing. Radio silence. When you're like waiting for a boyfriend to call and nothing happened. So we'd kind of given up any kind of hope of anything. Yeah. And it was James's last night in LA, so we weren't going to see each other for months. We booked an amazing restaurant, and as we're on our way to the restaurant, the phone rang, and it was her saying, I'm at Soho House, West Hollywood. Can James come and meet me?
Is that right?
Wow.
It's completely happenstance.
Completely happenstance.
Oh, really?
The night before he was about to
I thought
leave.
he called them.
No.
Okay.
She called. And so James, I was like, screw our dinner plans.
Yeah.
Go and meet her.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did. And then he came downstairs and was like, I actually think it went really well. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I don't know. I've got this feeling this is going to happen. And it's interesting. He got on the plane, and this is why this song is a bit of an anthem for all of us, I think, but Written in the Stars.
Yeah.
He said he put that on, and it was like a track that just came up on his phone, and the plane was taking off, and he was like, I know.
Just
it's gonna happen. Went home to Sandy. And
what were you doing, Sandy, at the time? What was your job at the time?
Yeah, it's all a blur, and how this happened for me. Like, I was James and I worked together. I worked for him, I should say. James being a tennis coach, and he used to run during the summer. He used to run like tennis camps for kids.
Yeah.
So and in my time off from uni, I would someone's being attacked by a wasp. In my time off from uni, I would go and work for him during the summer.
Yeah.
So we'd already worked together, and maybe it was in the back of our minds that maybe we'd do something together in the future. But at the time, I was a sports journalist for the Telegraph.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing that, and I mean, it's an amazing job.
Yeah.
And I was just traveling around the world watching sport, and being really young to do what was like early 20s in a job that, all my peers were in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And I was very young to do it, and I was very lucky. At the same time, I got a change of boss, and we didn't see eye to eye. And my career was like a sort of a, I don't know, it was very sharp rising and then also very sharp falling. And I was on the way down. And this is when James came back and started talking about Barry's and potentially opening it and doing it here. And the only thing I remember is, from my perspective and why I was into it, because I hadn't even done Barry's at this stage. I'd heard about it. And I was like, well, I'm only 20-something, 24, 25 or something. And I was like, this boss has come in and my career's completely changed on a dime. And I'm like, I don't know how clever this is to have your fate in the hands of someone else who you can't control.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was going through my mind. I'm like, I'm in the ideal job, my dream job, but at the same time, it's also really risky. And also I stopped enjoying it.
Yeah.
I called my dad actually driving to a football match up the M1 and being like, I don't even enjoy this anymore. It's my dream job. I don't enjoy it. Anyway, so this was all going on. And then, so when James said, are you interested in doing Barry's with me? I was like, well, I need to try it. Because obviously,
might not like it.
Yeah, who knows? So anyway, so we flew to New York and we were there for the opening of the Chelsea studio. So the first studio on the East Coast.
Yeah.
By this stage, to put in context, Barry's the studio's in LA.
Sherman Oaks. Which is LA. But it's kind of offshoot. And San Diego.
Was that
San Diego, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that was it. No, that was it. That was it. And it was super small. This company was like, it was in the know in West Hollywood, right?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, the only people that knew about it were LAIs. And and it had gone across, like people knew about it.
People in New York and
but it was very small.
I've been to 3 studios. I've been to the West Hollywood and I can't remember the other one, but in LA,
Yeah,
really.
So it was a really small, but really kind of like niche but well known in the kind of certain circles. So we went to New York and did this class. I did Barry. My first ever class was the first ever class in New York with Barry.
Wow.
And I was like, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand exactly what you've been banging on about. And I'm the kind of person who likes working out.
Yeah.
But it's not my be all and end all. I love sport. I love working out. But I'm like a normal person. I don't motivate myself.
Yeah.
And I would go to the gym, for example, and I'd be in the gym and I'd start doing something and then I'd be like, oh, no, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow's my day where I really commit to it and then just go home. Mm-hmm. So I had no motivation. And I remember doing this class. I was like, this is the kind of workout I do on my own. But in an hour, I've worked harder than I've ever worked in my life. Barry finished the class with push-ups. And I remember being like, I'm already broken. I'm broken. I can't do any more. But I just did like, this plane's going over. But I remember looking to my left and this girl was just doing more push-ups. And I was like, okay, right, I've got to keep going and do more push-ups. So at the end of this hour, I was like, there's no way that at the end of my workout, I'd have done a minute of push-ups. I'd have gone 3 of them, done. I've done an hour. I've done 59 minutes. Yeah. Why don't you need to do the last 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Barry's makes you do the last 10 seconds. And I just think that's such an important thing, like, to push yourself the max. Anyway, long
like
story
you
short.
did with us today when we had to do burpees in 35 degrees of heat.
Yeah, it's like we call them money reps. Like it's the ones which basically, if you're on your own, you give up.
Yeah.
But in barriers, you don't, and that's what just makes it. And so that happened. I walked out and I was dead. Went to a fuel bar, had a protein shake, which was tasty for change. I was like, oh, this is actually nice.
Yeah.
And about 5 minutes later, I was like, I could go and do that again.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's mad. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got this endorphin rush and I'm feeling super like happy about stuff and I'm going to go back in.
Yeah.
And that for me, I was like, 1 hour, changed my life.
Yeah.
Gave up my job, sold the car, put the house on personal guarantee.
So this leads into my next question, and without giving too much away, like how was it set up? So it was a privately owned company in the States at that time, and did Barry still own it at that time, or?
It was Rachel and John, I'd say, and Barry. They were the three co-founders.
They were the original founders. Then Joe was also by the stage a partner,
and he basically propelled Barry's from just West Hollywood, just Los Angeles, really, to New York, and that kind of opened the doors.
And so how did you take that? So you agreed that you're going to do it, and was it the three of you that were doing it? I know.
So it was James and Sandy. Yeah. So at that point, I was stayed in LA, and they were trying to find locations, etc. I was doing my instructor training, which I actually did with James originally, but. That was interesting in itself. Like he's the most incredible coach. Yeah. But I think he got on the mic and was like, "This is not for me." So for him, like it's interesting. You think even if you can have years and years of PT experience, you can have years of experience in the industry, but it's a very specific skill set to get on the microphone and be a great barriers instructor. Yeah. And I think as soon as he did it, he was like, "This is not my thing." Whereas I was like, "I love this. Yeah. I don't need to act anymore. Like this is way more fun than."
So you're not
putting myself out there
when you're shouting at everybody. No.
And I just think it's actually a little bit like Sandy. The control element. Like to be a barriers instructor, you've got complete autonomy over your class. Yeah. What happens in that hour? Yeah. You don't have complete autonomy because obviously you've got to have many people coming in and they've got a say in it too. But it's curated by you and it's your baby really. Whereas with acting, another plane. Yeah. You're relying on somebody else. Yeah. And so it was really nice as well to go and do a job, come out the other side and someone say, "I loved it. Yeah. It was amazing," rather than waiting for the phone to ring and then maybe never ringing. Yeah. No one ever tells you well done for your hard work, or you're never going to get any feedback. Yeah. Doing something that's for other people, not just this kind of lonely, solitary thing.
And I guess your class being booked up, like the 820, which you're famous for at London Central, like that being a busy class, I guess that's a real buzz.
Yeah, but I mean, for both Sandy and I, those classes, we've all done the kind of the graft of barriers. And when we opened Central, we had 2 people, no people at some point. Sandy I remember no one turning up for Sandy's 9:30 and him sitting there as a joke paid by myself.
It's sad. Yeah, my first class had 3 people, 2 of whom still come. Yeah, I think the third one pretty slow. I don't have access to the data anymore. Yeah, but I know 2 of them because they come to my class daily, and I think the third one still came along. She didn't disappear. But anyway, of my 3, 2 are still regulars of mine.
Have you seen it? Joe Wicks has done a post on LinkedIn today because I think it's 10 years since he might have started the body coach, but he used to do this class, didn't he, outside? And he said he would turn up day after day, and like people were not coming, but he was just like relentless. And it was consistency, and then look at him now. So how did you take what was in the States? How did you pick that up? And what was the process and put it into London?
Well, so in those days we were a franchise. And so it's a little bit like, it's not like opening McDonald's because I think they knew what McDonald's has done it so many times, whereas we were the second European franchise.
We're the first European EU at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know Norway was before London, actually.
Norway, so not even Oslo, it was Bergen. It was but again, they've chosen people who were massive barriers fans. I literally think in those days, if you love barriers enough, you probably could just
honestly, it was like a sort of a super small, and it was like James and I flew to Bergen. They didn't know we were coming. They were opening their studio. We came, rocked up, and we're like, "Oh, we're going to be the ones opening London." And then they immediately invited us out for a meal. And it's like a big. It genuinely is like this. It's a cliche.
Like now. So I've just had messages from the Canadian team who are coming out very last minute. They're like, we were meant to be in Milan, but we're going to come and see you in Ibiza.
Oh, amazing.
And the German team came over.
Jose was out for this one.
Jose from Madrid. Like, it's really quite a special thing. If you're part of Barry's family, whether you're a client or you're part of the kind of behind the scenes, yeah, someone says they're from Barry's and you go above and beyond, and they are like,
Yeah.
you know,
And it's extended. It's like I'll never forget being in New York for the Chelsea thing, and one of the deskers came in on their day off, and they were just hanging out on their day off, and I'm like, what is this? Where you have people who are coming on their day off to hang out and be part of it, and then the same thing was happening with us in London. People coming on their day off. I remember asking one of our guys, I was like, oh, can you just go and do this? Because they were there.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, no, of course I will. They're like, I'm here on my day off. And I was like, oh, well in that case, don't. No. And they went and did it, but they were just hanging out again. And I was like, that for me, that was a moment where I was like, oh, okay, that's what we've got the same thing. That's what we were hoping for. And it's this community or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There was nothing like it in London when we opened. And I remember that being such a moment when we opened, the day we opened, when we were like,
so when did you open? What was the...
so it was 2013, January.
January 26th.
Oh, so Make Events has literally just had our 10th birthday. We were 15th of July 2012. So you were like literally 6 months after that. Amazing.
Yeah, but I think none of us really knew if anyone was going to show up. And then these people actually walked through the doors. But for Londoners as well, I don't think people used to... You go in and swipe a card and go through your reception desk at the gym, and no one would smile or say anything. So people look so utterly confused when you're like, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Like, wanted to know about you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key thing. Like, people know about you.
Yeah.
Like, they want to know your story.
Yeah.
They want to know what your goals are. They want to know what you're going through. Like, you know,
it's like it's the cheers thing, right? When we opened, like Anna says, when we opened, that was not part of the gym culture in the UK. It was James was going to this gym and he was going for like 3 or 4 years, and the receptionist never knew his. Every time he went in, it was like, "What's your name?"
Yeah,
and he was like, "I see you every day."
Yeah,
like anyway, and it just that wasn't part of the culture. And then when, the thing about Barry's was like the cheers thing. Everyone knows your name.
Yeah,
like that's what. So that's a part of what we strive to do. Was you come in from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave is the Barry's experience. It's not 100%. From when you walk into the red room. It's from entry to the studio to the building is part of your experience. And like it is a part. This community is a thing to the extent that I tell people, like, I see people like come into class, whatever, and I go, "What are you up to next?" They go, "I'm off to like a job interview." I go, "Take your Barry's bottle with you and put it down, and you'd be amazed what happens." And I swear that the amount of times they've come back to me and they've gone, "I put my Barry's bottle down," and the first thing the person that my interviewer says, he goes, "Oh my God, you go to Barry's? Whose class do you take? Or where do you go?" Instant icebreaker.
Yeah, connection.
Yeah, it's the amount of times you're in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's remarkable how you meet people from everywhere and they all want to talk about Barry's. Yeah. I mean, we go. They've got a little tiny place in the farthest north of Scotland you could possibly get to. Yeah. Like, you don't think you're going to bump into anyone there. Yeah. And of course, I get a message going, "Were you in the pie shop in Lochimver with your son?"
I've been to that.
Oh, maybe it was you. Was it from you?
Yeah.
Maybe it was from you. I don't know. But I was like, who on earth is in the pie shop in Lochimver? And how on earth do they know that they do Barry's? Yeah. And that's the thing about Barry's. It gets everywhere. And people are so passionate about it. Yeah. That, I mean, I feel bad for anyone who's not doing Barry's or not part of it, because they sit around a table and suddenly the whole table's chatting about this thing. And they're like, oh my God, what is this? Yeah, James's middle brother is not involved in Barry's, and I do feel for him every Sunday at our roast, because it just inevitably revolves back to Barry's. Yeah, either work chat or, on the whole, it's chat about clients or like fun chat.
But so many Barry stories. I mean, my central. So for those of you that don't know it, London Central is literally opposite Euston. So when I discovered it, so I live in Manchester and I go to London a lot with work. So my whole thing was, I'm going to get up. I hate getting ready at that time in the morning. So get up at 6, whatever time, 5 o'clock, stick my gym gear on. I get the train from Manchester to Euston in my gym gear, and I make it for the 8:20 or the 9:30 or whatever. And also, I mean, everyone at work thinks I'm bougie, and I'm like, I would rather stay at the Travelodge at Euston so that I can do Barry's when I'm travelling with work, because otherwise I would have, like you said,
but you're not alone. People come from, well, we used to have, before there was a Paris studio, people used to come in from Paris.
No way.
Eurostar in King's Cross to us, do a class, and Eurostar.
It's mental.
That guy that did the Barry's tour was actually making his way around every single Barry's studio. I mean,
that could be a great charity thing, that, couldn't it, to raise money?
People do it. Yeah. When we first, again, maybe because 10 years goes so quick, we still think of ourselves as being like, when we were there, like, Anya was painting the camouflage on the walls.
I mean, Central was a complete labour of love. Like, none of us knew what the hell we were doing. We had no money to put into it. We just had ourselves. and our passion and our excitement about it all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was literally last minute painting camo on walls, dominoes being delivered late night, you know, so we had no towels, nothing worked. So James and I took home all the towels. It's like having babies. We had alarm sets. We'd wash the towels, have an alarm set to put them in the dryer. So you're waking up through the night to do this towels and drying, and it was just bananas. No one knew how to use the system, so we'd do a tally of water in a panic. I felt a little bit like, this is what's happening in Ibiza. I'm like, how many shakes? How many waters? And then I go back when there's a spare minute. It is rewinding 10 years.
Yeah.
And we're doing all that, and we're doing all the stuff, and that's what's fun. It's like, for me, that's what I enjoy it. Like, it's,
you know what, it reignites that beginning passion. Like, you know, as amazing as to have all these studios. Like, as it gets bigger, as you have more of a team, you have less of an input into all that stuff. So kind of going back to the kind of grassroots of it.
The roots of it.
What you were saying about, you know, we've opened Manchester and we've opened Liverpool, and we're spread out, and we've now got
a team.
As this plane goes over, we've got a team, and we've got 9 studios, like 7 in London, which are obviously all dotted around, and then 2 different other cities. And it's hard to be there everywhere and have that presence. And
it's funny, our operations manager, she's unreal, she's amazing, but she left us here. She looked so panic stricken to leave this whole process in our hands. She's like, are you going to be okay? Are you going to cope? We're like, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. She looked so nervous.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? I mean, it doesn't matter if we miss a few shakes, if someone's not signed in, who gets a, you know.
Yeah.
I think we're rocking it, kind of.
Yeah, we are.
Definitely.
It's great fun. But it's a nice reminder of, but you know what, we're in a very fortunate position now where we can leave, we're here in Ibiza doing this, and it's a great thing for our brand and for clients and for us as well, because there's always been a couple of, you know, it's been couple of hard years doing COVID, which takes its toll when you've got a business and you've got all that kind of, you know, it's fun. Everything is fun, and I love doing what we do. But at the same time, 2 years of being challenged in that way kind of take a bit of a mental toll. So part of this is for us to kind of get a reset and just enjoy.
Fall in love with it.
I don't say fall in love with it, because I've never fallen out of love with it, but just get I don't know, get out of our head for a bit. And but we've got this team who can run stuff. It's just an amazing experience to be able to go, you know what, everyone, it's still going. Yeah. It's still there. Whereas we're the only market, or at least we were definitely when we opened, the only market which closed on Christmas Day. Yeah. Barry's before us was 365 days a year. Yeah. Every day. There was never a closed day. And I remember we had to close on Christmas Day and Boxing Day 2013 because we were like, we hadn't had a day off. And we were just like, we need to have 2 days where we know it's not open. Yeah. Nothing could go wrong. Just that thing. And I remember we went back to my parents' house, and I just was sleeping on bare, like brick floor. I remember in front of the fire. I remember just passing out. We all were. Just have these 2 days of like not worrying about it. So anyway, we carried that on. But it's amazing to be able to go away and it's still there. It's still happening. It's,
Barry's happens without no one, you know, Barry's carries on without me, without Sandy, without Joey, without Barry. Like, Barry's is its own beast now, like, really.
So, as we said, Barry's isn't just about a class. We were talking about merchandise. There'll be quite a lot of people listening that are probably starting up, like, a small business. They might be doing merchandise, stationery, all that kind of thing. For us, for the Anything Is Possible brand, we definitely want to have merch as part of our offering. But I know that it's quite a scary world to go into. How's that all evolved, or the merchandise side?
Merchandise is, for me, I look at it as purely brand exercise, like a marketing thing. Like, again, I throw it back to the first thing I ever saw or heard of Barry's was James's t-shirt. Right, and his t-shirt he brought back, and that was how I was introduced to Barry. The very first time I ever heard the word Barry's Bootcamp was from his t-shirt that he brought back. And I kind of still see it that way. It's just, if you can make a bit of money off it, great. It definitely is not the way I see it. I'm like, it's just an amazing thing to be part of the community again, to be part of this thing called Barry's. And
it's a badge of honour.
Certainly this has been very apparent coming out here, where the retail's flown off the racks. Everyone wants their Barry's Pacha t-shirt. And like, wow, oh my God. It's like, I was there. Yeah. I did it.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been coming to Ibiza for years. Every summer I come out, I'll go and buy a Pacha baseball cap or a Pacha pair of shorts or a Pacha t-shirt. The kids have got Pacha t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like, they go to nursery, or my one, Leo.
He's inherited all the fences.
So
literally.
Yeah.
So James and Anya's boy is 6, called Finn. So Finn would have his Pacha t-shirts and stuff. They've been handed down to my boy, 4-year-old Leo. So I sent him off to now nursery. He was about to head into school, wearing his Pacha top, his Pacha tee with the cherries. So it's like a thing. Like, you're proud of. I don't know. It's, for whatever. I don't know what the human why or what the psychology behind it is. But I think that's, for me. I think. Yeah, from a business point of view, I'd say it's pretty difficult to make money off it, and it's definitely not why we're doing it. It's just part of the experience.
It's not a business in itself. So you know, I'm sure if there are new business owners and that's their main focus. But certainly for us, it's.
Well, we've copied your cold cup because you have the fuel bar plastic cup, don't you, with the reusable one with the straw.
Yeah.
So for anything's possible, we've literally copied you.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, and we've got them as well. So
good.
it's
we like that. I love it. People copy us means we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the merchandise, and then I'm also really excited to hear about Hermosa, which is your protein brand.
Yeah.
Now, your wife. Does your wife look after that? Is my research
so she
right?
runs that.
So how did that? Now, is that just UK Hermosa, or is that States as well?
Well, it's starting to move around the world, isn't it, with Eri at the helm?
So did you start it here?
So it started, with us in London. And the reason for it was when we opened Barry's, we had it with the fuel bar. And protein powders in those days were disgusting.
So I've interviewed Oliver Cookson that founded My Protein.
Right.
And how he started it. Yeah, so I'm interested in how it...
Well, also, it was crazy expensive for us to be importing all this.
But this is why, So it tasted like not good.
Yeah.
So we were importing a protein powder from the Netherlands.
Wow.
Because it was the only one that tasted good.
Yeah.
Everything else we put in our shakes just tasted gross. And we're like, well, the whole point of this is supposed to taste nice, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we were importing this protein, which was very clean. And it was kind of like the basis of where we took Hermosa. It was like clean, but tastes really good.
Yeah.
We were importing from the Netherlands, and we had no clue what we were doing. So the first time, I remember buying it the first time, and I was like, how many do we think we need? Like sort of 12 pots or something. So I bought 12 jars of this protein.
Yeah.
And it arrived, and then we opened it, and we're like, oh, it lasted like a weekend or something.
Yeah.
So then we're running down to GNC to go and buy more to keep going whilst we're importing more, because it took like 2 weeks to bring the stuff in. Again, like complete, beginner stuff.
Can I just say, there's a moment as well where we had no bananas. I went to Sainsbury's and the guy's like,
Oh, we
have
did
you
that.
got a baby gorilla? Like, what are you doing? Literally buying bananas, freezing them, chopping them.
We were doing that stuff the
wow.
entire time. We were like, going to the local Waitrose and just like buying. It was a joke.
Absolutely no profit.
We had no idea what we were doing. It was anything to keep the ball rolling, right? It was anything like people need shakes, so we'll find a way to make it
A
happen.
bit like me today, when there's no water.
Yeah.
I went up to the bar and they're like, you're going to have to buy the water. I was like, how many clients? How many bottles of water? I was like, fuck it, I'll just put up my credit card. Buy all the water that you've got, Destino. €6 a can at Destino.
Really?
And I was like, I'm going to be bankrupt buying water.
It was like that back in the day, right? We were buying almond milk at retail prices, like retail prices, because we didn't know. Anyway, long story short, we decided. We're like, look, we're buying this stuff in from the Netherlands. It's silly. Let's just make our own. And we have control over the ingredients. We have control over the taste. And then we were just supplying our own fuel bars for years. And then obviously just people were saying, where's this protein powder from? Because it tastes really good. And it was quite unusual. And so we're like, oh, well, we make it ourselves. And we just supply ourselves. So there was no name, no nothing. It was like under the counter. People were like going, oh, can we buy some off you? So we're
okay.
We'd sell it,
so
but
nice.
But every day it would be a different price. So here's a kilogram. We'd just make it up on the hoof. And like the same client would, every time they bought like a kilogram off us, it would be a different price. Like James would, I'd be like, James, how much we charge for this? I don't know, whatever, 60. The next day it'd be like 75. Next day it's 40. And it was just like whatever.
Brilliant.
So we had no idea. And then Erica, so my wife was working for us doing our marketing. She had Leo.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked.
I mean, it did have a name.
No, it didn't.
It did. James.
It did. Oh, sorry,
James
it did.
said that, like, it was very much a California black, like the Hermosa Beach thing. Like in his head,
It had no branding. It was no. It was just in his own head. It was called Hermosa. Yeah. And then so many people were asking us to buy it. At one point, we're like, but we didn't have time to do it. And it's just one of those things. It was like, it was great, but we didn't have running Barry's is a full-time job.
Yeah.
And we didn't have time to do it. Erica had got left Barry's to go and have Leo, and was then like wanting to do something again. So we're like, well, hold on, why don't you do Hermosa? Because it's still Barry's, it's still part of our family, it's still us, but gives you like you can come back and take it on your own journey. So Erica is CEO and runs it, and is growing it and made it into a thing, because it was just like
the most incredible thing. Like, it's got, it takes time.
Yeah.
I think she's finally seeing it kind of turn the tides, and it's not just the protein that's being used at Barry's, it's being used at other studios now, it's being used abroad in other places. Like, it really is growing, and that's all down to Eric, really.
Wow, because it's totally, you've got like fitness, merch, and then you've got like a food product, essentially. It's like 3 different...
Well, but that's the Barry's experience, right?
Yeah. So that takes me to the Barry's experience. So I don't think it's not curated that when I go to Barry's, I always get a water out the fridge. Why do I always forget my water? And sometimes I have a shake, sometimes I don't. But there is that thing as well. If I don't know if you guys feel this, if you've ordered a shake, you're kind of really motivated to get to the end, because at the end you're going to have your shake, and that's exciting. There's all the things in the changing room. So again, going back to me using Euston, it's so easy for me because I've got towels, hairbands, straighteners, everything. So it must be a very curated experience that we as consumers don't necessarily realise. But what is it about it that it's like you say, it's the minute you push the door, which says, at Manchester, it's like push
hard. So look, it is curated, but it's also really organic. So the door thing, right?
Yeah.
James and I had this discussion early on, where like anything that you touch points are quite important. And you feel something like, if you push a door, it should be like, have weight to it, heft. Yeah. And like, we spent hours talking about like door handles. So going, it should feel solid. Yeah. Because you touch it and that's what, it just feels better. Yeah. So but then the doors were like so heavy and stiff.
We're trying to open the doors. So in the old days, you couldn't book a treadmill or a bench box.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a free-for-all of, like, people would stand outside the gates and they'd have their like towel, their water, they'd be armed, and you'd see, as an instructor, you'd put
like getting a sunbed here,
and the doors would be shut, and you just see them all, literally the gates.
Teaching 640, we used to have to open the doors and go, stay, wait, open the doors, then wedge in, get out of the way, and go, okay, now.
And they'd run in, throw towels on different treadmills, and then it would be
carnage.
It would be like, I've saved this treadmill, I've saved this treadmill, I've saved this treadmill. And then, of course, in the changeover, it would be the same thing, because people would try and hustle onto the treadmill they wanted, get on the bench they wanted. It was madness, it was carnage. But the doors were really heavy. Trying to hold the door, the doors were like the saving grace, because they kind of...
But then
people then come do class and then push the door and like think it was locked. It wasn't, it was just quite heavy. Yeah. So anyway, we then thought we'd put these stickers on the doors, just going push hard AF. Obviously, as fuck. Can we swear on this thing?
Yeah, of course.
All right, push hard as fuck. But we were like, you know what? We'll just stick them on, and then, everything in Barry should like push hard,
so
work
it's
hard.
that last moment you walk out. So at Make Events, like, we've got this whole thing called the Ultimate Experience, and we say from the minute you invite someone to the event to that last, when you're getting a taxi or you're getting, that whole experience needs to be, even to the point that we've had a band on at 2 a.m. So your last memory of being at the party to get your taxi was still music playing.
But it's the same for class, right? The whole thing is like, you have this kind of like bigger environment than smaller, and it kind of like goes down and down and down. So like in the class as a trainer, and you'll, I'm sure, agree with this, like for me, like the first song and the last song, the first thing you do and the last thing you do, that 30-second sprint, like the reason I finish my class probably more often than not with bicycle crunches is everyone can do it. Yeah. It's an amazing exercise, but it's doable. Yeah. And a 30-second sprint. Everyone can sprint for 30 seconds.
I said it today. I was like, this one's actually not for me.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything for you. All it does is it's your head right now.
Yeah.
It's like, how great are you going to feel when you've got the best speed you've ever done, when you finish this bicycle crunch? Because really, physically, it's not doing much. Yeah. It's just about that. I know, we all say it.
Yeah, that kind of like...
I think...
You've done the workout, 59 minutes, 59 and 30 seconds, you've done. Everything else is...
You only remember...
This is purely for the mind.
I spend so much time with instructors, and they care so much about... of course, the content of what they're creating is really, really important. But I'm always trying to tell them the last bit is the bit that's remembered. Yeah. That is the kind of big, huge climax of this thing.
So true.
So if you finish and it's a plank... Yeah. Or you finish and it's like giving someone a kind of tepid tea, right?
Yeah,
or like a really flat glass.
Can I wait, hold on, sorry. Are we allowed to say anything in this podcast?
Absolutely, yeah.
Say it how you describe it. Come on, Anya.
Come on, Anya.
Let me get in trouble.
Well, you don't have to say it.
No, I described it.
The experience.
Okay, I'll describe Barry's class.
Yeah.
Cancelled. No, this is fine.
I'm going to be cancelled.
No, this is fine. This is good.
No, because I think there's lots of, it's like I'll tell the PC version, which in my head it's like a film or a play with cliffhanger acts and the whole way through, like, oh, the suspense of what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
The best way of describing it is literally like a series of mini orgasms. In my head, it's like you have that climax, you have that climax, you have that climax at the end of it. And the end is that fuck off. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was the most insanely brilliant thing.
Yeah.
It was hard fucking work, but I got to the end of it and it was just like unforgettable. Yeah. And I need to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So however that is given to you,
listeners, in your own minds,
sorry, this
imagine
is
what she's
We've had answers on
in a
this
very
podcast,
politically
so
correct
fine.
way.
Yeah.
Imagine what she really is thinking.
Yeah.
No, but I do think that, like, you know, you get to the end of
No
it
one
and
wants
people
to finish
collapse on
with
the
it.
bench. And
Oh,
they
like
go for
today.
it. They finish. Yeah, you're pushed. What Sandy said about you pushed to an extreme, right? Like, whether you're never going to run faster than you do at Barry's. You're never going to
100%
push harder in that last rep than you do at Barry's.
Yeah.
So, I should say, Anya still, 10 years in, like, every instructor that works for us in any of our UK studios gets trained by Anya.
Right, I didn't know that.
Which I think is
really.
quite. I think that's quite.
Yeah, I'm like such control freak.
Yeah,
it's been trying to take away. People are like, I think you need to relinquish.
No one's ever said. No, we've never.
No,
said,
you've never said that, but I do
Anya,
think.
I think it's part of the. I think it's personally one of the things that we should be the proudest of.
Yeah.
Is that, you know what? When we started, there was nothing else doing what we do. Now, like, the world has changed and the workout scene is different. And there's other people out there, and other people can go and choose other people. What I find very special about what we do is that, again, everyone who's come and work, you come and do a Barry's class, they've been trained by Anya.
Yeah.
Which I think is that kind
amazing.
of. I mean,
amazing.
Tell me another place which still do that.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna be like, oh, Anya, hate her now. No.
Sorry.
Anyway, the experience of doing that with instructors is incredibly intense. But the latest group, I had just had a baby, so it's an experience in itself, because I was like pumping in a cupboard and then coming out and like having to teach all these cool young things, and they're like, what are you doing in that cupboard? Like, this is really not glamorous. Also hugely emotional and hormonal, but I came out and I was really, they'd done an amazing job. I started waxing lyrical about the brilliance of what being an instructor is, like the privilege of it. And I was trying to explain to them, and I think I got very emotional about this, that, you know, in Sandy said about the days we've been shut, which are Christmas Day and Boxing Day, until lockdown happened, we'd never had to close our studio doors. And that happened pretty much overnight. It was a hugely emotional experience for all of us. Like, our team, everyone was like, what the hell? We chose to do it before that was all imposed on us. It was like a moral thing we felt we should do. But it was utterly heartbreaking. And it just kind of set off a chain of things, I think, for both Sandy and I and everyone involved, that really made you think about how lucky we all are, whether you're on the desk, whether you're a trainer, whether you're doing all these things. But you have people's lives in your hands. And we live the best and the worst parts of it. And it's a real privilege. Like, we do weddings, we do pregnancies, multiple pregnancies, we get them safely through their pregnancies, bereavements, job losses, job gains. We've seen the evolution of clients. Like, there's so much that you experience with people at Barry's. And I was trying to tell these instructors this, and I got very, very excited about it and very emotional about it. I was like, you know, you are in a privilege. If you want to be a Barry's instructor, it is an utter privilege to take the reins of that class and take people through this journey. What I didn't realise was our marketing lady was hiding in the back. And so I went off on this rant, and I got emotional and I was crying, and they were all crying in front of me, and it was all a bit weird. But then this little marketing, Kimia, who's in our marketing team, popped her head up, started clapping, going, I'm going to use that. Clap, 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 applaud. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm mortified. But yeah,
it's so true. And you've brought me really nicely in to talk about lockdown, because I have to say that, you know, I was, you know, my one thing when we went into lockdown, I was in like disbelief, and obviously all like £3 million worth of business just dropped out of our company. I didn't quite believe what I'm going to live on, because I was on my own. I isolated on my own as well. So the gym was what got me through. So I initially started having FaceTimes with my PT, and I mean, sometimes I would just get up and pay for her to listen to me cry, like genuinely. And then what you guys did in lockdown, genuinely, and I'm one of probably thousands, millions that were part of your lockdown story. The way that you pivoted, and you know, the way, you know, you did your social fitness, was it social fitness and all that kind of thing? Like, you honestly, like, we started doing, me and Juliet, who's back of the scenes today, we started doing the Instagram classes. And then what then we started doing the Zoom classes, and genuinely, we have to say thank you, because I don't know if you want to just come in now on my sweaty stool. But do you want to just say, like, it meant so much to us?
I think it's just what you created in the community. I knew that whatever the hell was going on with work, with relationships, with friendships, I could just get on Zoom at 6 a.m. and there was someone that would just light me up, lift me up, and have the best vibes. And it's just like, it saved me.
It literally, and we did a lot of Che, Honey and Robbo for anyone that followed them. Yeah. And honestly, like, it was our thing that got us through. We would do a Barry's.
Yeah. And that's like, a friendship was built. So us and our friend Lily we had a little sort of WhatsApp group for accountability. We started waking up at 5 a.m, and it was just getting us all through. And we were like, okay, so which class are we doing today? And it was, okay, we're going to get on the treadmill, we're going to do this. And now we've like, I'm lucky enough to work for you, be close friend, and Honey is now my PT. She's absolutely incredible. I've hired her because she changed my life. Like, Barry, literally.
Yeah.
That's very sweet. And you know what? It's a funny thing because it's obviously it's you can sit and you can just moan about how everything's going to go wrong, right? Like we had 7 studios at the time. We opened Soho during the pandemic, but like everything was going so well up until that point. And it's like, if you want to feel sorry for yourself, it's really easy to feel sorry for yourself, right? And having a purpose to go and then, like, say, pivot or do something different, like, genuinely, when it happened, I remember we shut down, and we were like, James and I were sitting in the office going, we're going to have to just shut down. So then we obviously told everyone, and Anya and I said to Anya, we need to keep going somehow. So we're like, okay, we'll do Instagram. We'll just make it up as we go along.
Never done it. We didn't know what we were doing.
Don't know what to do.
That's why I know what your house looks like.
Oh yeah, but most in the
we started
beginning
in the
days it was in the studio.
Because we did it.
Yes, it was.
We started before everyone got locked down, so we just shut, and it was you're still allowed to go everywhere. So we went to one of the studios to film it at Central.
We were like, who wants to come and do class out of our team? And they all rallied around and showed up. And
a week later, when the country went into lockdown, we then had to go and do it from home. But we did it purely because we're like, there is, like Anya said earlier, there's a responsibility we have to people who come and do this. Like, we accept that people come to Barry's not for fitness only, but for other things. There's a whole bunch of other reasons why people come and do a class. And we were like shutting the door, and for us to take, because again, we took it a week early, so it wasn't like, oh, the government had told us to. It's not really our fault.
You took the
reins. We were like going, we're shutting, and for me, felt like we've taken that decision to turn this off. Therefore, we need to do something about it and keep people connected and do whatever. And then
which you did.
Because at that point in shutting, there's a real divide of, I think that's the thing as a business, as you get bigger, you make a decision, but of course people are going to agree with that decision, and lots of people are going to go, how can you shut the doors? We need you.
Yeah.
And at that point, there wasn't a mandate to shut. There was no one saying you have to shut. So it was just a decision we'd made. But in terms of what it did, what was mind-blowing to me was when we did that first Instagram live and we pressed live, and suddenly I was like,
how many people went on that?
I don't even know. It was thousands.
Wow.
Thousands of people.
Wow.
And you're like, oh my God, like what the hell? Like all these people suddenly in the studio, we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
And the feedback and the gratitude.
Yeah, you know what, people, by the way, I love the fact that you guys are saying that. It's very sweet. You know what, it makes, as a business owner, it's hugely gratifying, and it's like it makes us feel like, oh, look, that's cool, and it kind of gives you that reason to do it, blah blah blah. But at the same time, I'm like, there's no real need to say thank you at all, because it was like we got something from it as well. Yeah. Honestly, if we hadn't been doing that, I would have been watching TV and being miserable.
Personally, or for myself, on even a personal level, just to even get up every day and feel like I was doing my job.
Yeah.
And getting the same response, all bigger actually. I felt like my community grew tenfold. I had people then come to that class who'd never done a Barry's class, and they're now loyalists. Yeah, I've got so many people. And even the other day, like, you had someone in class just now, but I'm sat outside Euston Station, and this girl comes up to me and is like, oh my God, I did your lockdown classes, and you've done this for me and that, you got me through the whole experience. And it's not just in England, but worldwide. It was really opened the doors to people who I hadn't seen for ages, who were living in Australia.
Yeah.
living in Singapore, like everywhere really.
And it really, I mean, an hour, Julia, again, for people listening, works at Make Events for me as Group Strategy Director. A big part of our friendship, because we met through Instagram really, pre-lockdown, I might add, but a lot of our friendship has been like the whole Barry's thing. Yeah. And we've both done a lot in the States. We do London whenever we go on business. We do it in Manchester. Like it's a big thing for us, isn't it?
It is.
Because you were going to mention the sweat working. We call it sweat working.
Sweat working.
Yeah.
You know, you do business in the studio.
Yeah.
You know, you're meeting people, and there's incredible stories, and it's just that moment you share that connection. And you might be just sort of waiting to go in, like, oh God, I've got a bit of a hangover.
Yeah.
That's a massive. You know, it's a massive thing. We've seen that over the last 10 years. That change, like. People used to do that in the pub, right? Or the restaurants.
It's the gym.
Yeah.
Well, not in the gym, it's Barry's.
It's the fuel bar. Barry's the fuel bar.
We've seen business owners who see that it's a productive thing to come to Barry's, who are buying out huge bulk classes to bring their team so that they start their day with the best hour.
So just going on to that, so I am actually really interested in how you two train. So do you do Barry's 5 times a week? Do you do strength training? Like,
I want a return of the compliment right here.
Can I just say, it goes without saying, I've just got to compliment Sandy. I do Sandy's class every day.
Do you?
Yes, without fail. So I do Monday to Friday. You ask me how I train.
Yeah.
And the way I train has not changed. It's for years, since the minute I stepped into Barry's. My go-to mode of exercise was Barry's. Nothing else compared. I'd come back to London, there was no Barry's. I'd try and recreate it. So I'd have a crazy treadmill that was shaking. And everyone in the gym would be looking at me going, what's this girl doing? I'd have tunes pumping, and I'd be like, pumping out biceps. And in those days, you didn't do that in the gym. They were like, who's this?
No one does that in the gym, even now.
No, exactly.
It's true.
So my mode of exercise is Barry's. It's a very different journey 2 pregnancies later. The first time I bounced back very, very easily. This time around, I've really struggled getting back into running in the same way.
Really?
Doing class in the same way.
So I was going to ask about for mums that are listening and stuff with fitness.
Yeah, I think the reality is that every pregnancy is completely different. And I think I'm slightly older. I think that the pregnancy was different. With Finn, I had no idea I was pregnant for pretty much half of it. So I was just going pretty crazy the whole way through. Whereas with this time round, I had a baby in lockdown. Yeah. Much more sedentary. It's just been different. I feel like I'm slowly getting back there, but I think there's no pressure for, it's really eye-opening having children to see what that's like to kind of go back to ground zero and have to build right back up again.
Which is when you're in a class, you know that people see you. Yeah. They twig that Anya's in. Yeah. And then immediately, the first thing...
What speed's Anya running?
What speed's Anya running?
What's Anya doing?
Or what's she lifting? What's she blah, blah.
It's quite a humbling thing. So I've had to let go of the...
Ego
massively.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Because honestly, I'd rather be doing Barry's and being able to carry on doing it and feel like I'm progressing slowly. And I know maybe I won't ever get back to,
But maybe that makes you relate to a different audience as well. Do you know, like there'll be other,
I have so many mums who've we've done the pregnancy journey. Yeah. I do feel like I need to finish my compliment to Sandy just quickly. Yes. But the 9:30, just 2 things. The 9:30 community he's built is incredible. So it's so amazing to be able to step into that every day. Yeah. But also, all our instructors are amazing. I love them all for different reasons. It's really nice to try new instructors. Yeah. But I miss it when he steps out and goes off and does whatever he does and goes away on some exotic trip. You have your instructor that ticks the boxes that you...
Like music, the way they talk to you.
Drive, energy. Yeah. And, Sandy delivers exactly what I try to do in teacher training, which is this original core Barry's experience. Yeah. Which, of course, over time gets diluted. And I just feel like that is exactly what is the brand. Yeah. So there you go. That's my last time.
So you just do Barry's? That's all you do?
Only Barry's.
Yeah. Are you good with your food? Do you do steps?
Well, my steps are pretty high because I've got a dog and children, and I'm terrible sitting still. Yeah. So as lovely as this villa we're in and this heat we're in, I'm struggling because I just need to be able to get out and walk around with a child. But other than that, there's nothing else.
And you good with your food?
Oh, food? Oh, yeah, I'm pretty balanced. I think we're balanced, aren't we? I wouldn't say I'm not going to eat a pizza or not going to have a glass of wine. I think we all are pretty moderate in that sense. I don't think we're ever hugely unhealthy. And we're not.
Would you say we're just really normal people?
Yeah, I would say we are.
In terms of fitness and...
I don't think any of us calorie counts. No. Yeah. We never...
Because that's not what you talk about. It's not your vibe, is it? It's not what you talk about. I think a lot of people that do Barry's, it's like in a way, like if I'm going out on a drinking on a Saturday, it's like, well, if I've done a Barry's, it's all fine. Do you know what I mean? Like you do kind of, it's like a bit of a, I think if you've worked that hard, you should be able to do what you want. Our narrative's
never been that, and I don't think it ever has been. And that's changed massively for me, because I was a model for years, and it was awful. It was like the whole of my, I joke about being a 90s, a model in the 90s. Yeah.
That must have
whatever,
been hard,
an 80s
though.
kid, and then your pin-ups are the 90s supermodels.
Yeah.
But everything is about being, size 0, skinny. Yeah. You've got people making you accountable for that, which is not healthy. I remember going as a model, going to my first ever thing with the modelling agency. With all these young girls who are 16 or under, and their parents, and they're telling them to eat a soup a day. A Covent Garden soup.
Wow.
Is what they were being told as their nutrition to eat a day. Nothing about exercise, nothing at all.
Yeah, because it wasn't in the 90s, it wasn't about being, it was about being skinny, right? It wasn't about being strong or,
So it's been such a mind tilt for me, and in a brilliant way, to suddenly be like, actually, the women that inspire me now are strong women, not skinny, rail thin women who are just probably naturally like that. You can't chase a 6 foot tall supermodel. You're just never going to be that if you are 5'6" and.
How did you let go of that? Because I can imagine for modelling for such a long time.
It was Barry's, because I was modelling, and then I was in a band, which was exactly the same pressure. You had the music industry saying, I remember them saying, it wasn't even directly to me, but to another girl, your upper body is chunkier than the rest of the band. So she went on a cabbage soup diet. She was 20. It's shocking. And she went on it, but it meant that we all went on it. So all of us for 2 weeks ahead of a video shoot, and we were 18 to 22.
Wow.
On this cabbage soup diet that's designed for people who have extreme obesity so they can have an operation on their heart. Craziness. And there's all these young women, and you get to the end of 2 weeks starving, hungry, miserable, angry, upset, whatever else, and it's just not sustainable.
No.
It's not healthy in any which way or form. And then acting, which is pretty much the same beast, and then getting into Barry's, and suddenly I'm like, wow, for the first time in my life, I'm just exercising. I feel great. The most important thing about Barry's is the feeling.
Feel great.
To be honest.
Yeah.
You don't want to eat badly because you feel great. And I'm not saying about cutting anything out of your diet, but you just feel like you want to eat the foods that give you nutrition. And you see the physical benefits as a side result.
Yeah.
And my headspace completely turned around.
Yeah.
Because I had the best body that, the body I was happy with.
Yeah.
By a default, doing something that I was actually enjoying.
Yeah.
It was, I've spent all these years eating cabbage soup and doing, you pick up, you were joking about magazines, these 90s magazines, but you'd pick up a magazine and it would have a workout in it. And I really remember really distinctly, it was like, how many lunges, how many squats, how many lunges, how many squats. And I did it in my hotel room.
Yeah.
I mean, it did something, because the next day I couldn't fucking walk. Then I didn't do anything for another month.
Yeah.
I remember having to put DP all over me so I could actually perform on stage the next time.
Wow. I think that is the thing with Barry's. Like, what I love about Barry's is you don't have to think. So I want to work my upper body today. I don't have to think. I mean, Thursday glutes. Amelia's glutes in Manchester on a Thursday are just like, you don't need to, but it is that whole thing of you don't have to think about it, but I'm going to have it, because I haven't got, I own a business, I haven't got time to plan a workout. So to go and just know, and also to know what body part you're going to do, I think that's it. So for those that haven't been, the body parts are different every day. So you have arms and abs, you have chest and back.
That in itself was kind of a unique thing in back in the day when Barry's kind of came about, and having that split muscle group kind of style workout, and it really is like, no matter where you go in the world,
you know what you're
like
do.
And then we have a lot of clients who just travel internationally. You can go and just pick up, you can continue your routine, but normally I'm 5 days a week. I do take the weekends off because I'm just like, I need a break from being around. I won't lie, it's hard sometimes because I teach 3 classes a day sometimes now, and there's a limit to how long I think you should spend in that room. But in my ideal world, because I can't motivate myself. The Instagram lives, we were talking about it earlier, like a lot of people liked it. I loved it for myself because it was like, I have to work out.
Train.
And if I hadn't done that, no way do I work out at home without that motivation. And I have people like, like thousands of people watching it. Like, tell me how hard you would have worked. Yeah, right.
But I mean, it's another level.
So I'm
so you literally do practice what you preach.
That's why honestly, that's why
Rachel was like, you're the people. She was like, she saw me sat at the desk, going on and on about how much I love Barry's.
Yeah.
She was like, these people are.
I don't think you can do it. You can't do a business like this if you don't
love it.
Love it, believe in it. Like that's the whole point. Is like we believe in it.
Yeah.
And you can tell that by the type of people that are the Barry's brand, and you see them all doing. And I love it if I'm in a class with trainers. Like my PT we'll do a class together, and it'll be so nice because we can have that like bond together and like experience it. And like me and my friends will go out for Barry's instead of going out for drinks. It's cool. It's a fun thing to do.
Well, actually, on the 10th anniversary of Make Events that I just mentioned, I was like, right, what's your perfect date? So we met, we did Barry's, we did, I think, the 10, and then we went for brunch at the Ivy and had a mimosa.
Barry's and brunch, by the way. That's the best.
That's what my WhatsApp group is, Barry's and brunch.
Barry's and brunch. Have you got the Barry's and brunch t-shirt?
No.
All right, I will find. I've got one somewhere. It's a men's medium. But I will. You can have it. It's used. It's been used. It's been washed. I've got a couple.
If you've got that,
it's probably got the arms hacked off in a kind of very.
I'm going to show you. I'll show you my WhatsApp group.
I'll give you a Barry's and brunch t-shirt.
I've got. Do you know what my first Barry's one I bought in New York, and it's a hoodie and it's United with Sprint.
Right.
I've got that one.
But it's become a thing. It's like like you were saying, international clients. My first Barry's was in Washington DC because I travelled so much for work. I needed something that I could rock up and I could do it. So I've done DC, I've done LA, I've done Denver, I've done Boston, I've done them all. And
Ibiza.
And
right? And you got the t-shirt to prove it.
Yeah, I've been here, got the t-shirt. Yeah. Was almost sick. Thank you. That's it. And you go, and it's like it's the brand, and that's the fitness stuff that I buy now. Is Barry stuff, and my husband's like, for God's sake, can't you just go to the gym like a normal person? And I'm like,
not come back with.
And you can come too.
So. Yeah, just to kind of round. I mean, honestly, I'm literally blown away by this podcast. There's so much to take out from it. I think that the things that I've got from you two today are that, do something you love and that you're passionate about. Take the chance, like you asking Rachel that day. Some people say don't work with family. It's obviously working for you guys.
There's moments, but I think the lucky thing with all of us is that we've got we're just on the same pathway with what we believe in.
And can you say what's next for Barry's? I know that now you do the lift classes, and they've just started the ride one, haven't they? Is that in New York? In LA. In LA. Oh, look.
So I've done Barry's ride, and it's great. It's not what you expect of a normal spin class.
Because I do have a Peloton. I have got a Peloton at home. But is that something that you're going to grow?
Barry's ride?
Yeah.
You know what? At the moment, we don't know. Like, I think it's a kind of an early stage thing. Did they open it just before pandemic?
Yeah, just before the pandemic happened. I went out for the Global Summit, and it was all about rides. And then, of course, COVID happened.
Did they do something in Miami at Venice Beach with Ride? I feel like when I was in LA, there was something.
Maybe.
I think they've had pop-ups here and there.
Yeah.
I think we're very much, when we do something, our head's in that. And so for us at the moment, the main focus is obviously Ibiza and Destino.
So tell us about that. So we're sat at Destino, which is an amazing resort in Ibiza, and to give context, there is a pop-up Barry's right by the pool.
Summer residency.
Residency.
I do
with
feel like I'm Solomon.
DJ Sandy and Anya. So how has that come about, and what is the purpose of doing it?
So Anya was alluding to it just now. We're all like heads into one thing, and right now our head is in post-COVID.
Yeah.
Like, we were flying in February 2020.
Yeah.
And 2 years of like I was saying earlier, fitness is a routine thing, and people fall out of a routine, and it's like reestablishing where we were, and it's a journey, and it's like, it's a humbling journey. It's like to get that back, and that's where our energy is. For us as a team, is to go, we are going to get back to every class being sold out with Anya and I used to teach that our classes would have 20 people on the wait list. It was sold out a week before. You know? I'm going to get back to that, and it's going to get back to that. We're all going to get back to that.
That was like a goal.
To get back to where we were just that month going in pre-COVID. It was like flying.
Yeah.
And so that's where our energy is as a team and as a group and as a family is to just get people back into the routine and reestablish ourselves. We had this opportunity. Pasha reached out to us and said,
Oh, really? Is that
what happened? Funny enough, actually, speaking to Sanjay, who's the CEO of Pasha Group, saying he did our Instagram lives during lockdown.
Around in both our kitchens.
Wow.
Anyway, so this kind of conversation started, And as a brand, to be associated with a group like Pacha, I mean, Pacha. It's
Yeah.
like,
And don't you have a thing when you pop your Barry's cherry as well?
I know,
and
it's
then you've got the
ironic,
cherry.
isn't it? It's like,
it's
like fate's line.
We were honestly like, that's cool that they want to talk to us about it.
Wow.
But it just establishes us again as doing something that other people aren't doing.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool moment for the brand itself. Again, we're not just UK, it's a global business. It's like European studios all over the place. We've got clients coming from everywhere.
From America,
so
from Dubai.
So for us, it was like an opportunity we couldn't pass up to go and do something that's never been done before. To be doing it with Pacha. Again, kind of like I said earlier, there's only really been 3 changes to the workout, the Barry's workout in 24 years.
Yeah.
We don't really change the product. That is the product, and it's just amazing the way it is. So we try to look at ways to take that product and introduce it in different ways, rather than messing with it, which a lot of people will mess with the thing. We're like, no, that's what it works. And in the early days, actually, was a thing for media. Like, what are you doing differently?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're not doing anything differently.
No, nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed, and like that's why it's so special. We don't do anything like we do things differently, but the workout's same. And well, you need to do whatever. Like,
you're opening studios. What's the next thing?
So we were like, you know what? But Ibiza, partner with a brand, do it in a hotel like this. We break it down every week for Solomon and Marco Carola to come on and they're on the stage.
It's a joke because it's like the next morning I'm like, Solomon was up here last night. That was my
They're like, they're there until 12, and then we break the studio down, break their thing down, and we build the studio. And a few hours later, we're doing our thing. It's like it's a totally new thing that we're doing. But that's kind of part of where we're at. We're trying to just.
I mean, what for me has been so
bang.
incredible is like obviously opening this to a new audience and having all those people come in for the first time and fall in love with Barry's and have that immediate, this is amazing. Yeah. And coming back and back, like Daniel's been every day pretty much, this guy. And, I feel like in a sad way, the wheel's going to start churning quite fast and then we'll be like, back to London. But,
do you know what I thought today when I was doing it? There's a couple of thoughts I had. One was like, why doesn't every hotel have a Barry's? Because I'm training on a hangover and I wouldn't have got up to use the gym on holiday. I wouldn't have done a PT session, but I'm like, somehow I can do Barry's, and I actually
it's quite a lot to have a Barry's. I think people just think Barry's happen. I think that's the thing. The reality is we've had so many copycats of Barry's. Like it's very flattering initially. It's like, they're doing what we do, and it's scary, but then you realise that there is nothing like Barry's, and the amount of heart and soul and passion and work that goes into creating that studio. It would be a lot for everyone, for every hotel to go, right, I'm going to create Barry's.
But it's
all
so
the incredible
good.
instructors and all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. If they want to multiply.
But that's a compliment to you that it is a compliment to you that it is the best workout. So yeah, a bit of an anything is possible moment for myself and Juliet to be sat here today. But can you both tell us individually, if you were to coin the phrase anything is possible, what does it mean to you individually?
I think for me it's much more of a personal thing. Anything is possible is in terms of just happiness. Barry's has got me through the best times, some seriously dark times of my life. And I think it'd be great to just be able to have Barry's and I am happy, but just to continue that happiness. I really can't, there's nothing else I really, really chase.
Yeah. What an amazing, that's a really,
from my side.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what about you?
Anything is possible. In Barry's or just in life in general?
Just in general, if you had to coin that phrase.
So, let's talk about it in the studio first of all. Yeah. And when someone comes in, I said this in this class today.
Yeah.
There's this guy running 12.5 inclines, going above my speed, just doing other, just smashing it. And I was like, what I love about Barry's is the fact you can have this person just doing this, and then you can have other people doing that, and everything. Everyone is doing their own level, and speeds are irrelevant. Or incline, whatever it is so irrelevant. It's personal to you, and everyone in there was having the same experience, regardless of speeds, whatever, anything. It was just you're all trying the hardest you can do, and anything is possible for you. And I just think it's for that in a studio, in a workout, and we hear it the whole time about, Barry's too hard, blah, blah, blah. But I do believe in that class, it's a bit of a mini tale for life, is that it doesn't matter what you think you're capable of, you can go and do it to the best of your ability, which I think is important. outside of that, and I was actually thinking last night about barriers in life, and these guys left me. Everyone just left me for the night. So I was like sitting there on my own, cooking my food, barbecuing, thinking about berries. And but I was seeing my son, my 4-year-old. We've been in Ibiza for a few weeks now, 4 weeks. When he came out, he's 4, he couldn't swim at all, right? And then he's going now, running and cannonballing into the pool and swimming, right? And he's doing lengths of the pool.
Wow.
I was watching going, when we came out here, he couldn't swim.
Yeah.
Now he can cannonball and go off the slide. Like, he's a nutter.
Yeah.
I was like, isn't that life in general? And isn't that barriers? Like,
things you don't think you can do.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then you can do it.
Yeah.
If you put your head to it and your mind to it.
Yeah.
And you apply yourself, and consistency, what you said about consistency.
Yeah.
You know, Leo's been in that pool every day.
Yeah.
Ben's been in that pool every day. And they've gone from 0 to 100 because they've
just
committed to it, but also in a fun way.
Yeah,
I think it's a key thing.
Yeah,
you know, the anything is possible thing is.
It is if you
try it.
You try it and you enjoy it.
Yeah,
I don't try and fight something that's not fun because you're going to be losing a battle. I think.
Yeah, and also just for people listening, like so at work, me and Julia are always going on about barriers, and then everyone that's new starts like, do you want to do barriers with us? Don't do it, don't follow her. So for somebody that's maybe not done fitness before or has done fitness and thinks barriers is scary, which if you've been, you know you can go in at your own level.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, right? So this is where our own clients, you guys probably work against us sometimes. And I love it in the same way as I'm almost like, oh God, because everyone who goes and does a barriers class will be like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a kudos doing a barriers class because it's known as being difficult. Yeah. So our own clients go, God, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Right? So
you say that and you put off the person that's brand new.
Yeah. So
how would you encourage people listening that haven't done a class?
All you need to do is the first step, which is literally book the class in 2 steps, sorry. Book the class, get there.
Yeah.
Everything else is done for you, and it does not matter if you're even walking on the treadmill. I've had people who've never stepped on tread. I've had people who are grandmothers. I've had people who've had multiple children coming back, injuries.
Yeah.
You know, it is a journey for every single person. So you just get there, and then everyone else will look after you.
Yeah.
And you will be surprised.
Yeah.
It's like Leo learning to swim.
Yeah.
He can't swim. He goes, I don't get in the pool. He doesn't learn to swim.
Yeah.
He goes in the pool, and over time, he learns to swim.
Yeah.
And then you go, you know, smash cut from 4 weeks, he's doing cannonballs to can't swim. Obviously, it takes a bit of time, and you get there. But if you don't try it, you don't get there.
Yeah.
And it's barriers is life. There's how many times throughout our life do you do experiences like that?
Yeah.
Every day you go and do, like, something happens where you think you can't do it, and you face it and you do it. Barriers is that. It really is. You got no. I'm sorry. That's it.
It's a little.
Yeah.
It's in a nutshell.
Yeah. Anyway, Julia, I want you to round it up. Anything is possible. This is also, you're as obsessed as me. Do you want to round up this podcast and what it means for us today?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And, you know, we go on about barriers. You guys go on about barriers. We all do. But I think barriers is a feeling. It's the endorphins, the flights, the planes are flying. There is no feeling like going in that room and just doing what you can. And just to you guys to actually hear the story and the brand behind it and the business building. It's fascinating, and we're so grateful for you. So thank you so much. If you're listening, make sure you check out Barry's on Instagram. Please take a screenshot of this. You know, we'll put all the links in the show notes. Make sure you go and follow Sandy, Anya, Barry's, the whole fam. And
we'll tag them on everything, won't we?
Absolutely. And come and do a class. Just try it one day. But thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the season in Ibiza. We certainly will.
Thank you guys for having us on.
Thank you for flying out to see us.
Thank you.
And giving us to talk about our favourite thing. Like, literally. It's just,
giving us rosé and champagne.
Rosé, champagne, and talk about barriers. It's basically like...
One day at the office, hey?
And if anyone does a class based on listening to this podcast, please let us know, and then we can let you guys know as well. So thank you so much. Let's go and party.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.